All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. This is the Enterprise Reality Check, AI Bubble Episode 3. AI Johnny. Happy Tuesday. Happy
Did
Wednesday.
you watch that thing all the way through yesterday, brother?
Of course. I watched multiple of them.
Me too.
Went all the way till
Oh, you watched it over and over?
well, no, there's multiple of them. There were 7 videos yesterday. So I watched 4 Google I/O videos.
Oh, I just watched the live presentation.
Yeah, that's just the
Kept
that's
bringing
just
people out.
yeah, that's just the keynote. But they have subsections where they talk about the individual items.
So, what are the coolest new tools?
Omni. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, we are getting ready to go live. All right, catch you guys later.
Welcome to Season 12 of Airhead Institute, your 45-minute AI power-up at noon Eastern, and a massive happy one-year anniversary to all our Airheads. This month, we're broadcasting live across all the socials and Zoom. If you're new here, join our free AI community to grow alongside other curious minds, and give your kids a head start by enrolling them in the Airhead after-school program. Here's May's weekly lineup. Mondays, we move past syntax and build apps entirely through natural language in Vibe Coding Bootcamp. Tuesdays, we explore accessible, cutting-edge apps for rapid learning and content creation in the next-gen AI tools. Wednesdays, we track the massive capital flowing into AI and ask the trillion-dollar questions in the AI bubble. Thursdays, we profile the famous CEOs driving the revolution and analyze their power in AI architects of the future. Fridays, we push the boundaries of physics to simulate the past and predict the future in AI time travel. We're making AI practical, powerful, and accessible for everyone. No tech background? No problem. Whether you're a student, professional, or lifelong learner, just show up. Guided by your hosts, AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're keeping it bold, brainy, and built for real-world impact. AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind.
Welcome to Season 12 of Airhead Institute. Today is Episode 3 of the AI Bubble. I'm AI Johnny, and I'm just a small part of that bubble. So, are Fortune 500 giants profiting from AI, or are they just burning gajillions to look innovative? Today, we rip off the marketing bandages to expose the raw math behind the hype. When CEOs brag about AI, tokenomics overhead skyrockets. If inference costs outpace the sales, they bleed cash with every single prompt. Today, we will prove who is winning the AI war and who is just pretending. So I'm handing it over to AI Junior. I caught him at 3 a.m. using an AI agent for his taxes again, spending 10 times more in compute than his actual refund. Take it away, AI genius.
AI Johnny, I was investing in my own personal infrastructure. AI Johnny, welcome everyone. Remember, this is an immersive class. You may not understand everything we say here today, but stick with us daily and you'll be fluent in AI in no time. Hey Jillian, hey Shauna, I see you. We are making the connection in this class right now, and if you want to actually survive the digital economy, you have to separate the hype from the hardware. Since it's an interactive and immersive class, if you're on Zoom, unmute and ask your questions in real time. If you're on socials, there's a 30-second delay, so type your questions in early. We are not ignoring you. So for context, so we're actually in week 3 of our Wednesday arc, the AI bubble. We've looked at hardware costs, we've looked at startup graveyards, and today we're looking into enterprise giants and what they're actually doing and see if it actually is a bubble. So AI Johnny, before we actually get here, let's actually go over to a video. And the reason why I want to set the stage with this video is because it actually sets up some really big concepts. So there is a shoe company. No, I've never heard of a shoe company, but I'm not into shoes, so that doesn't really say anything, say much. But there's a very popular shoe company named Allbirds. Now, if you guys actually have heard Allbirds, you guys can shoot me at for reactions in the chat and in the comments. But what I want you guys to actually know is the following. Allbirds was a failing sneaker company. And what happened is they were practically worthless. And because they were worthless, they were on the stock market. And because you can track them, they're a public company. So they said, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and pivot, and we're going to pivot to AI. No, I don't want to spoil what happened, but by just saying those words, it changed the trajectory of the company completely. So, AI Jen, you ready to actually see this video?
Wasn't this a scene out of Wall Street? The Wolf of Wall Street?
You know, AI Johnny, definitely you can have a reminiscent of some kind of pre-bubble thing, but it's only clear in hindsight. So let's actually check this out.
They saved a shoe company in that movie. I don't know if it was this one or not. Probably not. All right, let's see what you got.
All right.
We were talking about Nike. I do have to get to this story involving Allbirds. Now, we'll probably put up a chart. It's a tiny company, but this is so reminiscent of 28 years ago when I used to sit across from Joe Kernan during the internet boom. 30 years ago, 96 even beginning at that point, 97, 98. I remember there was a refrigeration company, I can't recall the name, that became an internet company via press release, and its stock price soared. What's happening here is that they've sold, Allbirds has actually sold Allbirds, at least what you know as Allbirds, the brand, the footwear company. They've sold the assets to American Exchange Group, and they say that group will intend to build on Allbirds' legacy and deliver compelling products to customers. What they have done, though, is raise $50 million in a convertible financing, that's what they're calling it, from an institutional investor not named. At least I don't see it here. Let me see, maybe it's further down, but I don't see it. And what are they going to become? Well, their long-term vision is to become a fully integrated GPU as a service and AI native cloud solutions provider.
A company that's going up against NVIDIA?
So Allbirds is now no longer a sneaker company, but a fully integrated GPU as a service and AI native cloud solutions provider. It's a pivot. They actually even admit that.
It's like an in-trade.
And they do anticipate changing their name now to Newbird AI. Huh? Yes.
All right, so I'll pause right there. Just on that news, I'm not sure if you guys actually saw, I'm going to show some really critical things. So just on that news, the company itself was worth, no, it's kind of hard to actually see here, so I don't want to misquote their pricing because I want to be very factual, but I do see that it went up about $7. So if I do the math quickly on this, they were worth roughly about $2 per share before the news came out. And on the news that they're pivoting from a sneaker company to a AI GPU and AI service-based company, they've shot up almost 300% in value, and they went from $2 to roughly $9 just on that news, AI Johnny. So I know you guys probably didn't hear the chatter before, but this guy was saying that, hey, this is very reminiscent of 26 years ago where a random company says they're going to go a web-based, internet-based company, and this price shot up. So these are, these are very reminiscent of pre-bubble talking. AI Johnny, you were mentioning something about also pre-bubble talking in Wolf of Wall Street, right?
Yeah, now that I see that it's just pivoting, it reminds me more of Get Smart when a shoe company decided to pivot and become a phone company. I don't know if you've ever seen old black and white episodes of Get Smart, but he used to, when he wanted to talk to his secret agents, he'd take off his shoe and he would talk into his shoe. But I don't think that raised the stock price at all. You know I'm joking, right?
yeah, Johnny. So, if you actually see, Jim Cramer itself here, he's gonna say something rather interesting. And I want to just play just the last part. It's only about another minute before we actually jump into the show, but it's very interesting to see these two. These two are talk show hosts that are talking about the stock market and what's going on. So let's just play the last minute or so.
You have to understand, we're being a little jaded about it because
well, this can certainly help those who argue that we're in some sort of a bubble.
Yeah,
say, look at that.
That's a bubble.
Now I don't
bring a bubble.
We talk about bubble and we look at the multiples and we're like, we're not in a bubble. certainly
You know why
not
we're
for the
not in a bubble?
hyperscalers.
Because
No.
there's a helium shortage.
But people want it.
All right, so I'm not sure if you guys caught that they're saying they're using the bubble word a lot, and remember, their words hold weight. So if these financial analysts itself throw words like bubble, the market gets spooked and crazy. So the joke what Jim Cramer mentioned was, we're not in a bubble. We are in a bubble because there's a helium shortage. No, there is a helium shortage. That's different, but the helium blows things up. Blah blah blah. A little joke right there. But the point is, this is actually really, really, really worrisome when these guys start talking about bubblish or frothy kind of behavior. So, with that being said, let's actually cut to the actual show. Before you actually jump on that, yeah, Johnny, want to actually mention anything that's actually quite ridiculous in this specific story?
I don't really look for ridiculousness. I look for when stock prices triple. I look for how can we repeat that?
How can we
That's just the
repeat
way
that?
my brain works, brother.
Got it. Okay. All right.
If this company, it sounds to me like this was a failing shoe company.
Yeah.
They came up with a clever way to shift before their company went down in flames. They shifted over to the hottest buzzword on the planet in the history of mankind, and it worked.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're going to be a good AI company is neither here nor there, but they're probably just as good an AI company as they were a shoe company because it sounds like they were tanking.
Yes, they were. They were practically worthless. Yeah, Johnny. All right, so let's actually get to the word of the day.
The word of the day today is tokenomics. Here's the definition. It refers to the economic model of processing data in AI, where costs and pricing are strictly tied to the amount of input and output data an algorithm processes.
Exactly.
Well, we all know about tokenomics.
Exactly. Hey, Adrian, thanks for joining. Yeah, so yeah, Johnny, let's, definitely deepen that a little bit. So every time a corporate CEO says they're integrating AI into their workflow, no, and this is example is they're not even integrating, they're just saying that they're going to be pivoting to AI. And, there's everybody's building data centers now. So it's actually crazy how the sneaker company itself is going to pivot to AI. I have no idea how they're going to have to fire everybody just to be able to do that. Makes no sense to me. But with that being said, they're dramatically increasing their tokenomics overhead, right? If their new AI features don't generate more revenue than the raw cost of processing these requests inside the context window, whatever, the company is literally losing money before they even start selling anything. So every prompt their employees run, everything, they're going to have to actually spend a lot of money just to even try to get in the game, which is why, Jim Cramer started those by saying they're going to compete with Nvidia and Facebook and compete with all these guys. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
So should we get on the phone with the new Bird AI company and tell them that since their entire human resources department is filled with people that know about shoes, would they be interested in hiring a couple of guys that know AI inside and out?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, Johnny,
Give them some credibility.
Yeah, give them some runway. Exactly. I love that AI, Johnny. All right, you know what, guys? So let's actually look at the human impact of all of this, because if we are actually in a bubble, if things are looking frothy, and by the way, this is just one story we chose to highlight here. There are tons of these stories that are over and over and over that companies just put the name AI onto the end of their name or do something and their company valuations skyrocket.
So when companies don't understand the real costs, the everyday human pays the price. We're seeing a massive corporate layoffs justified by AI efficiencies, but the workers left behind are more stressed than ever trying to manage half-baked models. Boy, we could talk about that all day, couldn't we?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, AI, Johnny. So, the social impact itself, it creates a awful societal shift where companies are chasing a futuristic narrative for their shareholders, replacing human salaries with server costs. But the visual app itself, the visual of actually that wow factor itself clearly shows that there's actually something wrong, right? They're spending all that money. They used to employ lots of shoe salespeople, manufacturing actual shoes. All those things were there, and they've now just shifted over to now an agentic or digital company that actually is is doesn't have an employee. So now what happens to all those employees? Those employees are obviously are now unemployed, or they have to go look for other work. And we're seeing all of this happening. And unless they can actually pull off that they are a successful AI company, which I don't want to say they are not, but the probability is actually pretty low. It's actually going to be just, close up shop for them, AI Johnny.
I watched a video this morning on Facebook, which was Bernie Sanders yammering on about he was calling for a 6-month moratorium, shutting down all AI companies because, and then he just showed a bunch of quotes of Elon Musk, just fear mongering kind of a thing. Oh, it's going to be so bad. We just need to shut it all down. But he doesn't realize that even if people were to take him seriously and shut it all down, that doesn't really that's bad too, because there's a global a global race happening here. So, and he constantly leaned in on the fact that jobs will be lost. Jobs will be lost. And as if it's a given that every single person needs a job and that losing your job is the worst thing you can do. And I just wholeheartedly disagree with that. Maybe the world isn't meeting me halfway yet, but I love the idea of a world where nobody has a job.
Yeah, Johnny.
And we learn to live with it.
Love that we've talked about this topic to death a lot. We've even made a whole series on it. Universal basic income is something that we actually talked about in series maybe 5 or 6, something like that, and we brought it up multiple times on our Friday series. So yeah, Johnny. So let's actually get to the macro shift.
All righty.
So how
Go
does
ahead.
society actually get past this? So right now we're a massive in the massive infrastructure phase. So I know if you guys are old enough, you guys probably remember the internet phase where we're actually laying out multi millions of dollars worth of pipes to actually lay cable and DSL lines and all those things. And if you're actually even older than that, you'd probably even remember, them laying out and bringing a telephone to your actual home. I remember when we actually got telephone to the home in Jamaica. It was actually rather interesting. I remember my phone number. My phone number was a 5-digit phone number. And because it was a 5-digit phone number, it shows you just not many people had phones at that point in time. So the point is, we're right now in the infrastructure phase. Now, the infrastructure phase is actually pretty good. And the reason why it's pretty good is because you're spending a lot of money on actually putting the infrastructure in place to build out all these things, which is great. So Fortune 500 companies are spending billions laying down digital train tracks, data centers, cooling systems. The macroeconomic shift will only stabilize when the cost of compute plummets and local open source development becomes a standard. So just to give you the analogy is right now we are laying the infrastructure, which is great, but the cost itself is actually they're investing way too much because the promise of the reward, the promise is actually almost there. But we can know from every single infrastructure player, well, if you think about it, the telephone line, we didn't really get much benefit from the telephone line until the internet actually came out. We didn't get much use from, say, for example, train tracks until we had an interconnected system where we can actually ship things from many different places easily. We didn't get the benefit of, say, for example, the iPhone until companies like Uber and companies like ride sharing apps and food sharing apps and all these things can actually make a lot of money. So the point is, the infrastructure is important, but it takes time to actually get to the reward. It's never overnight.
So it's just a classical example of things getting better before they get worse. I mean, they get worse before they get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely see the parallels here. I mean, I'm having a metaphor of my own. There was a time when I was very young. There were lots of things that were free. Air was free, water was free, driving on the road was free, and these things that people consume in massive amounts. There's entrepreneurs out there going, "Geez, if I could just charge for that." if I could just charge for the road, and now we have toll roads, and they're extremely profitable. And people are charging for water now because they're promoting that the water you're getting over your free water isn't any good for you. So people are buying cases and cases and cases of water. And now you have this information, which used to just come from libraries and encyclopedias, and now the information comes over the internet, and it comes supercharged with AI. But in reality, it should be free, and maybe one day it will. But right now, these companies that are building these data sets that are farming out their large language models, they're not doing anything. They're just opening up the lines and letting you use their thing. It's not like they have to do any heavy lifting to give you 10 million tokens. It's like creating 10 million lines in a database, but they're charging you for those tokens. So they're effectively charging you for something that they could give you for free, but they're not. And one day, I believe that this massive amount of information that is coming out of maybe 1,000 different corporate giants will be free or close to free. If you're going to regulate anything with AI, regulate the price. Let them do whatever they want, but just don't let them sell it for every dime I have in the bank. That's just
So
my little slant on it.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, Johnny. The thing is, the price of generating each token, it will eventually become free. You're absolutely right on that. But we have to solve two problems. The first problem is we have to solve the power shortage, so electricity. Unfortunately, whichever, and again, I'm going to use some colorful language here. Whichever idiot named a nuclear power plant was a terrible, terrible, terrible person in terms of our society's future. The reason why I say this is because if this thing was called just a power plant or unlimited energy center, we would all be living next to a nuclear power plant now, because a power plant can give gigawatts of actual energy and clean energy. The problem is we had an atomic war, and we actually had a fight with the Soviet Union, and everybody's afraid of nuclear, right? So what happens is, nobody has the ability to just build a nuclear power plant in the backyard. If they ever petition to say, let's build a nuclear power plant in my backyard, you're going to have everybody saying, I don't want that in my backyard. They won't put it in somebody else's backyard. And I think because of that naming convention of naming a nuclear power plant I think we did a failure to society. And if we had just named it something else, nuclear power plants will be everywhere, and we'd have unlimited clean energy to actually run all these AI data centers, and we'd be doing things for cheap. That's the first thing. The second problem is the GPUs that power these systems itself. There's really, really technically only one company that actually creates it, and then there's an even bottleneck below that. And it's NVIDIA. Now, AMD does make chips. There's a lot of other companies trying to make their own chips, but NVIDIA is the actual bottleneck right now. So they're worth $5 trillion. And if they can actually pump out more of these chips fast enough, then the prices will plummet. So one day, AI, Johnny, we're going to get to a stage where all these things itself are free. But I just want to go back in time and rename nuclear power plants to the unlimited AI Johnny and AI Junior magic power reactor, and we'll be all using nuclear right now.
NVIDIA is worth $5 trillion.
NVIDIA is worth $5 trillion. Yes, yeah, Johnny. Hey, Ovia Management.
How many people live in the United States?
I think 340 million people, something like that.
So let's just say it was 600 million, double the population. Then that company could give everybody $1 million or $1 billion? $1 million.
If it was 600, I'm not so good at math. You're saying if it's worth 600 million, it'll be to give them $2.
Yeah. So times 1,000 would be 600 billion. Times $1 million would be 600 trillion. Oh, 600 trillion.
Something like that. I don't know.
Oh, so he can't give everybody $1 million yet.
No.
That's what he should say. That's what he should say. He should say, listen, when I get up to the thing where I could give every single man, woman, and child in the U.S. $1 trillion, I'm just going to cash out and give you all the money.
Yeah.
Then everybody would be buying.
Yeah, that's funny. Ovia Management.
Am I off script?
Ovia Manager, we're actually talking about
let's move on.
the AI bubble, enterprise reality check. So we're actually talking about if we're in an AI bubble, what does it look like? What are the signs? So thanks for actually asking that question, Ovia Management. All right, yeah, Johnny. So let's actually get into the philosophical debate on what we actually, even though we do think that, whether we're in a bubble or not, it really doesn't matter. These things are going to make very, very clear when we look back at it and say, hey, it was very obvious that we're in a bubble, but we are seeing signs of what I'm going to call frothiness, right? We're seeing signs of things that are there. So again, we're not
All right.
economists, so we're not calling things. But yeah, Johnny, go ahead.
So let's pull back. So what do you think would happen if the global economy, to the global economy, if this AI bubble bursts and these trillions of dollars in hardware don't produce profit for, say, the next 10 years? So if they don't produce profit for 10 years, something's going to break, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, it's actually easy to go back in time and look at every single bubble that we've had, and the catastrophic problems itself is very sad. So, if you look back at the housing crisis in 2008, a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people actually went unemployed, and you're welcome, OVR Management. And what happened is, if you actually do that, if you look back even farther in 2000, in the dot-com bubble, again, a lot of people lost their jobs, and it was a long time for the economy to come back into full swing. And you can go back in time even to all the tulip bubble. So the point is, there's a lot of problems that happen if you're in a bubble and things get overvalued. So the price of things comes down in terms of the valuations, right? So the valuation of, say, for example, your retirement is going to go down. So if you're planning on retiring and you retire when the bubble bursts, your retirement is actually worth very little. That's unfortunate, right? And if you don't get AGI, which is everybody's chasing the AGI, because if China gets the AGI first, if the United States gets the AGI first, then we unlock a magical superpower itself that will just propel our society into the next generation that we've never seen before. So the thing is, if we don't hit that, nobody's going to invest in it anymore. Humanity reliance on automation, we've gained some things, but it's going to slow down. So unfortunately, that's the problem is going to be there, AI Johnny.
So you're saying we're still not at AGI, and there's this big magical day when we just cross this invisible line.
Yeah, I still think I'm looking at the data, and some people are saying 2029, where 50% is going to be getting AGI. To be conservative, I do think by 2030 we'll have a reasonable knowledge if we're actually even going to achieve AGI or not. I still think it's too early, and we just don't have enough power yet to be able to say that we're going to get to AGI.
AGI means that the large language model is smarter than all humankind combined. Right?
No, that's super intelligence. So it's just any individual human. So it can actually it's smarter than any individual human, but not combined.
Well, let me be the first to say it's smarter than me.
But it has to be smarter than individual humans, all of them. So if you take the smartest mathematician and you take the smartest physicist and you take the smartest whatever, if you were to give them an individualized test, that AI model would actually outpace if you don't specialize. And the thing is, I'm saying specialize is
if you took the smartest person in every single industry on earth, no matter what language they speak, and put them behind a podium on a Jeopardy game, and you put the latest Gemini model behind the next podium, right? So now there's 1,000 people behind that one podium, or 10,000 people, I don't care, the smartest of the smart. And now we start asking the questions: where's your money, on the humans or on the AI?
So the humans are currently going to win.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
Yeah. So
No, they're not.
Yeah, so the problem with AI, Johnny, is that all these models itself, they're not specialized. They're general purpose. So if you were to ask, so Gemini, just released a science-specific model. Anthropic is releasing a security-specific model. You have audio-specific models for sound. You have, so what's happening is we're getting all these general purpose models, and behind the scenes, what you're seeing is what's known as a mixture of experts. So when you hit the model itself doesn't know everything. So it says, I think I know that you're asking for this type of thing. So it splits it off and then goes to an expert. And that model itself now routes to a different expert. So the problem is we haven't indexed all data. We're missing a lot of private data. So the thing is, if you were to ask it about court cases, that is public information, the AI knows that, it's been trained on that. But if you start asking it private questions like, hey, I want healthcare records and I want to understand how cancer is progressing since the 1970s. Unfortunately, all that data is locked up in private HIPAA laws, and we don't have access to train that data. So what happens is if you're to
I
get
get it. I get it. I get what you're saying.
yeah,
Yeah, I get it. There's stuff that we don't, that they can't train themselves on, therefore they don't know.
yeah.
So, and now that you're saying, oh, by 2030, HIPAA is going to let all that stuff go.
So Elon Musk did something very interesting. On with his model, he actually asked many of his employees, "Can you please just give us your personal medical records to train it?" So I think 750 people volunteered their records, and unfortunately, again, don't quote me on the exact number. I think it was like I remember the number 75. It could be 75 or 750. But unfortunately, that data got leaked. So people are a little bit pissed off that their data got leaked. But if you give your data to an AI company, you should expect that that data is going to be leaked or get public information. So the point is, I think when we give more private data, the AI is going to get smarter. So I do think that we're going to know roughly that people are going to say, hey, you know what? It's okay. Let me upload all my personal information to, chat GPT, or let me upload all my personal information to Gemini. So pre 2002, before Facebook, everybody on the internet never used their real names. They were named, Mr. Sinister 25, or the Internet Genius 72, whatever it is. They had those type of names. But no, because of Facebook, everybody was trained to use their real names, and privacy kind of went out the window because people were saying, my name is now Junior Clark, and my name is this, and my name is that. And what happened is we're able to share more private information with these companies. And as over management, I'm actually going to bring that in the chat. Over management mentioned, if it's free, then you are the product. So at some point in time, we're going to get comfortable enough and actually say, let's put my medical information up to the cloud because I wanted to help diagnose my problem, because a doctor is not going to be as good. And the moment you do that, you are getting something back. You're getting that you're potentially getting an AI to solve your medical problems, which is great. But you also just gave it information to train. And guess what? If you get enough information to train from many people, it will get smart enough to be able to know all those medical diagnoses.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in order to get the information that people don't want to give up, you either have to trade it for something, or you have to show them that by giving it to us on the back end, you're going to get something more valuable than the privacy of keeping it where it is. Yeah, you're right. I get it. It will take a couple of years. That's a really good distinction that you put out, Junior, about private information versus public information. So what you're saying, when you're calling general information as public information, and I also acknowledge what you're saying is that there's professors out there that haven't put their information or their private papers or their discoveries, or, patents, a lot of this stuff, the secret sauce for Coke. How long will that be on the? When AGI is here, can I just say, give me the secret sauce for Coke?
Yeah. Ovia,
Can I ask?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Personal information about people. If I want to know this girl's favorite color, can AI tell it to me before I meet her? And then I walk up to her and say, my favorite color is magenta. What's yours? And she's like, oh my God, because AGI is helping me with my pitch.
Yeah, we are going to get to that data. And OVA management, you're so welcome. That's a very good insight. So, AI Johnny, OVA management is also even saying that, what you're saying, that that insight was pretty valuable as well. So yes, so fortunately, there will be a day, AI Johnny, that you'll be able to walk up to somebody, and before you even see see them close up in arm's length, or before you actually open their voice, you actually probably get a little download, whether it's digitally or visually in a heads up display in glasses, or on your phone. You'll say, hey, that person likes strawberries, their favorite color is red. They actually, it will tell you their blood type. It will tell you if they're good mates. They'll tell you if they're gonna like your comedy, and you're gonna know everything, because that's at that some point in time, the privacy information will be probably all known. So that's probably what's
Can
going
you
to happen.
bypass my phone and my eyeglasses and just pop that right into my Neuralink? Because I'm watching a movie right now.
Oh, definitely, you can definitely do that, AI Johnny. All right, guys.
Hey,
We're
what do
gonna,
you say we get to the takeaways, brother? Because we're running out of time here.
of course, of course, of course. Let's go.
Would you like to hear an ethical thought?
Always.
If you're building an AI tool for your business, don't overhype its capabilities to your investors or customers, because honesty builds long-term brand loyalty. Why does that apply to what we're talking about today? Because part of the reason for the bubble is all the hype that these companies are saying about how valuable they are, when they're really hemorrhaging money faster than any company. I mean, some of these companies are losing a Rockefeller fortune a day.
You're right.
That's insane.
Yep.
Okay, here's a couple of creative business ideas. If you're going to do a pitch deck audit, to run your own company's materials through this exact prompt to ensure you aren't failing into the hype trap, which is good. Or if you want to do some competitor research, which is where I think it's going to be used, right? Wasn't I just doing competitor research on the favorite color?
Yep.
Use it to analyze your competitors' press releases to see if their AI claims have actual financial backing. And finally, if you're talking to your investors, this will help you with your investor relations. Communicate your transparent, realistic tokenomic costs to stakeholders to build ultimate trust. Some of these things seem like they're common sense, but they're actually pie in the sky in 2026.
Yeah, Johnny. I definitely think you're so right. It's definitely you're right. No, on the technical side, so automated financial scraping. So you can build a script that autonomously runs a prompt to actually look at SEC filings and see what's actually happening. If you see in their earnings call, which all these public companies itself have this public information, you could scrape the information, and every time you hear the word that they're talking about AI, and you see a sneaker company talk about AI, you're like, something's not right here. How is a sneaker company going to AI? You can actually get a little bit of advantage. Another technical thing you can do is cost optimization. So you can use a smaller targeted LLM for routine tasks instead of frontier models, to heavily reduce your corporate burn rate. So Gemini actually 3.5 Flash just came out yesterday, and is actually cheaper than the actual, and smarter than the actual 3.1 Pro model. We'll get to that a little bit later. And data sovereignty checks. So evaluate if hosting your own local source models is actually cheaper than paying the API costs for third-party vendor over the next, say, for example, 5 or so years, to figure out your capex expenditure. All right. Yeah, Johnny, any questions that we actually have in the live stream? Or anybody have any questions on Zoom as well? Go ahead and ask your questions.
Well, because this has been a chatty thing, I do see some calls. I do see some questions coming in.
Sure.
Crypto 99 wants to know, how do I know if an AI tool that I'm paying for is actually worth the subscription price? Don't we all have that question?
Yeah. So guys, I will tell you this right now. No matter what subscription tier you're on right now, and you're paying for an all you can eat, again, all you can eat is depending on which tier you're on. If it's, I want to use access to everything on this particular plan, just realize that you're in the honeymoon period of the bubble right now. What that means is that the investor money that is actually used to subsidize, to get us hooked on using these plans, so that our lives depend on it. And what we're seeing is that they're raising the cost of the per token usage in the a la carte plans, very, very slowly, right? Every single time they're actually raising the price. I'm actually watching it. It's actually quite funny to actually see. So the point is, if the tools itself saves you money, right? It's worth it no matter what, because the price itself of tokens itself, if we keep the scarcity and if the bubble continues, us talking about $15, $25, $30 per million output tokens, we'll be talking about, you know, $100 per million output tokens this time next year if we don't solve this power and scarcity and memory shortage issue. Yes, Shauna said we are now the lobster in boiling water. Love that, Shauna. Yeah, yeah, Johnny.
You
So
know, if you want to look at the future, you want to know what the token costs are going to be in the future, because everybody will be using the large language models to shop and to vote and to whatever. They're all going to be using it, so they're all going to have a bill. You want to know what that bill is going to be?
uh-huh.
It's going to be equal to your UBI payment.
I love it. And UBI is universal basic income for anybody who's not familiar. So yeah, so you're practically gonna be living paycheck to paycheck. All right. We spend more money than what actually comes in. So that's gonna be potentially unfortunate. I see the laughter there in the chat, guys. All right, yeah, Johnny. So ready for the news?
Here's a question from Bernie Sanders. If the corporate AI bubble bursts, will AI development completely halt?
AI Johnny, this is actually it sounds like a very funny question, but if I was to look at the housing crash as an example, I know this a lot of people may actually be, still have trauma from this, but many people itself, they bought houses and they bought it in subdivisions that were building out and they were promised this future of, this subdivision is going to look really, really nice. And when the bubble burst in 2008, what happened is people who bought houses, they looked at the lot to their left, they looked at the lot to their right, they looked at the lot across the street, and it was empty. It was empty for about 7 to 8 years. So what happens is home building didn't stop. It's just that it only went to a trickle, right? So obviously, AI development and stuff is not going to stop, but it's definitely going to slow down. And it's the same thing in any single bubble that you've actually seen. If we do have that thing. All right, yeah, Jenny.
That's an interesting analysis. But when it comes to the AI development, well, first of all, when the AI bubble bursts, will it burst globally or only burst in the United States?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be a global thing. So I don't think I've seen any localized bubbles because we're now globalized economy. If China starts to sneeze, we actually get a fever. If North Korea stubs their toe, our head starts hurting us. If somebody in Antarctica stubs their elbow, we have to actually go to the, we have to go get a blanket. So the point is we're all connected, and any little change in a global economy changes a lot. The butterfly effect happens. So yeah.
When our housing market crashed, it didn't crash in the rest of the world.
Everywhere, yeah, Johnny. Everywhere. It was sad.
Really?
Everywhere.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Yeah. All right, yeah, Johnny.
That's the questions. What do you say we get to the news?
Of course, let's do it.
I'm so sad that there's no Elon Musk moves anymore. Although maybe he's gonna get sued for that thing he did today. But if he leaked all those medical records. But if they don't sue in the next 3 years, he's going to get off the hook, right?
He's going to be perfectly fine. Statute of limitation. Love it.
Gemini 3.5 Flash has finally dropped. Google has officially launched their newest lightweight model, promising frontier-level performance that operates 4 times faster than the rival systems, making it the ultimate engine for coding and agentic tasks. I guess that's what you and I are going to be using because we're agentic addicts, right?
Yeah, AI Johnny, I've actually been using 3.5 now since it actually was announced yesterday at about 1:45 p.m. Eastern time, and I'm loving it. I've actually now run out of my quota 3 times, and they've given me an additional 30,000 tokens to actually use because I'm actually one of their early adopters, so I'm actually loving what's actually happening. So if you guys are want to be able to be one of our early adopters, definitely start developing with 3.5, and they might actually send you out an invite. But AI Johnny,
Is that anti-gravity?
so inside anti-gravity, I'm actually using it, but I'm also using it on the regular, interactive chat as well. They came out with a CLI, so it's cheaper. That's the best part. It's cheaper than the actual Pro model. So I don't understand how that works, but I'm super impressed.
Google Search got its biggest upgrade in a quarter of a century. Search is officially becoming an agent. Google is bringing anti-gravity agent integration directly into the search box, fostering back and forth dialogue and executing real-world tasks instantly. Too bad they didn't have this 3 years ago when ChatGPT first dropped. It feels like they're reinventing the butter churn, but I was at the event yesterday, and the new Google Search is pretty cool.
It is, being able to.
But it also does away with a lot of things like SEO.
Yes.
There's no clicking anymore. It's all conversational.
Yes.
They make recommendations. They don't give you URLs.
Yep, you're so right, yeah, Johnny. I just love the fact that now everybody practically can now become a developer, and they're slowly rolling out these features itself. You can now build anything on the fly, and you can now get visualization and ask questions. So practically everybody can become a developer with the new Google search agent. So biggest upgrade in 25 years. Love it.
Gemini Omni video generation is finally revealed. Moving past text and images, Google unveiled Omni, a multimodal powerhouse capable of generating, remixing, and editing cinema quality videos directly from text and audio inputs. Sorry about that, Hollywood, but it's here.
Yeah, AI Johnny, the rumors when we've been following, again, we try not to actually propagate rumors here on the show. We try to vet the things, but we did hear that there was going to be a VO4, something with video actually announced. And Gemini Omni itself is actually a game changer, right? It actually understands every single concept of the actual scene, and you can swap it out. So we're going to set up maybe a little bit of a demo sometime next week. So don't want to necessarily, we're going to sneak something in so you guys can actually see it. Because it is amazing. It just blows my mind. So check that out. We'll definitely keep you guys up to date on that.
Is it possible that movies won't be made at all in the future and we'll sit down in front of our television sets and it'll be kind of like Mad Lib? It's like, yeah, make a movie with me as the star, my guests here in my home, make them as the co-stars, make it a rom-com. At the end, nobody dies, but we win $10 billion, and it just generates the movie in real time. You're watching the first scene and the last scenes are still compiling. Is that possible? Is that coming in the future?
Yeah, so AI Johnny, that's actually the way things are going. Even software application itself, they're using what's known as generative UI. So it's actually built on the fly while you're streaming it. I see Over Management says, I'm using Claude a lot now, which is better than Gemini 3.5. Yeah, so Over Management, just to let you know, so depending on the version of Claude that you're using, so there's 3 versions of Claude. There's Opus, Sonnet, and Haiku. So depending on the flavor that you're using, you have to compare apples to apples. What that means is that you can't compare Opus to Haiku. It's just not a fair comparison. So definitely check out every time these models have dropped. So right now, the most powerful model that we have seen in the benchmarks is ChatGPT 5.5. And then you actually do have the other models in that large frontier category. So keep in mind that you don't want to burn your more expensive models on the tokens that you actually are just asking simple questions. You want to change the model you're using depending on the question complexity that you're asking. All right, so try to.
Well,
go ahead.
Another great thought-provoking show. I'm going to go take this Canvas prompt, copy my household budget into it, and have AI highlight exactly how much I'm actually spending on my tech subscriptions versus my actual groceries to find out if I'm spending more money to learn whatever is out there in the megasphere versus how much I'm actually putting into my kids' refrigerator. And speaking of kids, Airhead Summer Camp is opening in June and July, and we are looking for more kids to participate in this. We will be teaching the latest and greatest on art, movies, music, and games. So if you have a kid that wants to spend their summer doing something cool, by the end of July, they'll know how to make movies, how to make art, how to make music, and how to make their own video games. That's what we're teaching. Go to airheadinstitute.com. If you'd like to participate in that, it's only 2 hours a day, and we do offer certifications at the end of each 2-hour class. Junior, take us out, brother.
Yeah, definitely. You know, just want to at least acknowledge the comments. So Shauna said, another informative class, guys. And Ovia Management says, Sonnet, I use a lot. Thank you. I will keep that in mind indeed. And AI Johnny and everyone here, just remember, guys, thanks for hanging out with us always during your lunchtime, depending on your time zone. We do these classes live every single day, and you can jump on our Zoom or stay on the live stream, however you feel comfortable. And you know, if you want to get reminders about the show, sign up for a free account at www.airheadinstitute.ai and support us by becoming a paid member. Since it's Wednesday, don't forget we actually have Airhead After School today and AI Office Hours from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time if you're an Airhead Pro member. Invite a friend and share this episode. Remember, guys, replayers are available on YouTube for a short period of time. Catch it before it's gone. Later, guys. Bye.
Hey, and tomorrow we're going to be talking about Dario Amodi from Anthropic. Don't miss that.
Definitely. Thanks, AI Johnny.
Thanks, guys.
That wraps up today's AI Power Up. If you joined late or you're new here, welcome to Airhead Institute. This is your daily destination for mastering artificial intelligence. We designed this lineup for everyone, whether you're a technical pro looking to upskill or you just want to chill and learn something new on your lunch break, we've got you covered. Our classes evolve every single month, so you're always on the cutting edge. And the best part? It's totally free to join. Once you're in, you can get live tips on your AI projects in our AI office hours and even enroll your kids in our Airhead After School program. Scan the QR code to join the community right now and make sure to like and subscribe at Airhead Institute on all socials. Guided by your hosts AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're here to help you win. Remember, AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind. We'll see you next class. Bring a friend.